Boom. We are now live on YouTube, baby. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. This is going to be our slideshow today. So we went over last week. Part one was about the markets, right? So we were trying to understand what market works best for you, whether it's Forex, futures, crypto, stocks, or options, okay? So this week we're going into part two. Actually, now that you know which market you want to trade, you need a brokerage account to access that. So this week we're going to talk about the introduction to brokerage accounts. Drop a 1 in the chat if you have a brokerage account. Drop a 2 in the chat if you do not have a brokerage account. Just want to kind of get an overview of where you all are. Okay, we got some 1s. We got some 2s. That's cool. That's cool. Let me get y'all a link because I'm going to go over some of the brokerage accounts that we use. So I can actually get you a little link for anybody that is dropping a 2. We got a lot of 1s. We got 2 2s. All right. So for the 2 2s that are here, I'm going to send y'all a link right now. That way you all can actually get started on just setting up a brokerage account, because that's essentially what we're going to be going over today. So in the chat, just drop the link to Webull. That's the brokerage that I use, and that's one of the ones that I'll include in our overview today. So in order for you to access the financial markets, you're going to need a brokerage account. It's like the checking account for investments. I love it. Okay. If you don't have one, you need to get one. Okay. Lauren, you said you 2. Hey, I just dropped the link. So for everybody that mentioned the 2, you need to click that link and you'll be able to set yourself up a brokerage account. Okay. So Webull is actually what's pictured here on the right. On the left is our profits channel from our Discord. Okay. So if you want to get like them, you need a brokerage account. Because those little blue ones are the blue profit ones are Webull. The little black ones, this right here, that's going to be like TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, Applight, and stuff like that. So we'll go over that as well. But what I'm going to discuss today is the types of brokerage accounts that you can have, how to open up an account, cash versus margin, because that's going to be one of the first questions it's going to ask you, and also options account levels. That if you want to trade options, you have to understand that because you have to apply to trade them. Okay. And then we're going to talk about paper trading, which is going to be with most of your brokerages. Okay. Let me turn my music off over here. And then a live Q&A. So if you got any questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat right here, but we'll also have a live Q&A. So when we're done, you can ask any questions, but feel free to ask any questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Okay. Let's get it started. All right. Introduction to brokerage accounts. What I need you all to understand is how to access financial markets. This is the key. All right. So when we talk about brokerage accounts, a brokerage account is an investment account that allows you to buy and sell a variety of assets. Okay, so I've included some of these assets right here, whether it be stocks, REITs, ETFs. Well, you'll learn all about these different things, but these are essentially things that you can invest in with using a brokerage account. And you need a brokerage account in order to access these things. Okay, so whether you're setting aside money for the future or saving for a big purchase, you can use your funds whenever and however you want. They're not locked in there. There's not like when you buy stocks, you're not stuck in it. There's no agreement that says you can't sell, right? So when you're investing and you have a brokerage account, know that it's not like money lost, right? Like I always see this, like you have money sitting in your savings account or your checking account that is doing nothing. It's not a lot of times. Maybe people may be sitting on just maybe some of y'all live in check to check, but if you're not, maybe you have $10,000 on the in your bank account. Maybe you have $60,000 in your savings account. This is all money that's sitting idle. As much as you can access it with your checking account, you can access it with your brokerage account. You can make withdrawals. You can even they have cards hooked up to these things. Okay, so it's just a financial institution, just like your bank. Your bank's actually doing the same thing with your money. They just aren't giving you anything for it. So that's why it's important to understand how to utilize a brokerage account. Okay. So just a few of the ones that we're going to cover today is TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Robinhood, and Webull. Okay. These are just some of the most popular ones. All outside of this, I have no real experience with. Okay. So I'm not a genius. I'm not a guru. I'm talking to y'all about what I know. And so I'm sharing this information with you. Okay. So those are the ones we're going to cover today. But in order to get started, you're going to need to open up an account with one of these companies, right? One of these financial institutions. But be careful out there because there are a lot of scams. Okay. Make sure you're on an official broker's website. Okay. Now, each brokerage is going to have its different process of setting up an account. Okay. But this can all be done online. So there might be some scams in the DM talking about, hey, I can get you money in crypto, but you got to set up with my brokerage account. Like, be careful. Like I said, I'm going over these 4 because these are tried and true. Okay. I don't know anything else about any other brokerages. So I can't speak on their behalf, but these I know I have experience with, and I know a lot of people that use them as well and speak very highly of them. Okay. So once you create an account though, you can transfer funds using your bank account. Okay. Now this is just like a checking account. So it's going to ask for some personal information. That's why I said it's very careful that you don't fall for scams from fake brokerage accounts. Okay. When you get on here, it's going to ask for your identification, maybe a picture of it, maybe a scan of it or something like that. So don't be afraid. It's going to ask for personal information because this is your checking account for investing. Okay. So when you're setting up an account, a couple of things that you need to consider is, do I want an individual or retirement account? Okay. Now I have both, right? Because individual accounts allow me to trade and do whatever I want, right? But retirement accounts have certain restrictions, certain limits. And so I have a retirement account. It's a Roth IRA. It allows me to contribute now up to $7,000. As of 2024, you can contribute $7,000 to your Roth IRA. Now, what I contribute to my Roth IRA, I can trade and make all kinds of money in my Roth IRA and withdraw it in retirement tax-free, right? So I have a Roth IRA for that purpose because a lot of people are like, you got to pay taxes on those gains, but not with my Roth IRA, right? So this isn't money that I'm looking to use anytime soon. So I make sure I max out my contributions every year. But an individual account, there are no contribution limits, but you are taxed on these particular individual accounts. So money that you do make in these, when you sell, because unrealized profit is not gained, it's not realized, right? So anytime you have unrealized profit, some people may buy and hold and never sell. They're making and building wealth, but they may not pay taxes because they haven't realized that. Okay. So individual accounts, I recommend people have them both. But you'll need to figure out which one you want for yourself. And then once you do that, you can have a cash or a margin account. Now, we'll go over that as well in the next slides. But the things that it's going to ask you is years of experience and your risk tolerance. Okay. So those are the questions that it's going to ask you when you're filling out this application. Let's just say you need to have some experience and you need to have a high tolerance of risk. Let's just say that. But also, you need to find out if they have paper trading, because when you're opening up a brokerage account, I always say people need to practice, right? Like, you're not going to win championships if you're not shooting in the gym. Okay. So don't expect to be Kobe tomorrow if you haven't been shooting in the gym. Okay. So paper trading is key. But let's talk about, once you set up your account with whatever brokerage you do choose, it's going to ask you, do you want to use a cash or a margin account? Okay. Now, these are the 2 types of main accounts that you're going to use. A cash account is basically an account that allows you to use money that you deposited. It's like just think of it like a bank account, right? Like, you can never spend more than you have in your checking account, right? So like, your checking account is key. Like, it is what it is, and you can't spend more than you have without being penalized, right? Well, a margin account actually allows you to have some credit in the market, right? You want to buy some more shares? We'll give you a credit, right? So that's the best way to kind of explain cash or margin. Margin is actually taking a debt out. So you're borrowing money in order to purchase more shares or leverage in a position. I usually recommend people use a cash account, right? Because you don't ever want to owe money because you made the wrong decision. Okay. I use margin just because I love it. It gives me leverage. But I feel like margin is only for people that are experienced, right? Because you can end up owing money if you lose on a position, right? But I use margin as a way to leverage into a position. Maybe, maybe I have 20,000 in an account, but if I see a really great trade and I know that I'm about to make a lot of money, margin allows me to double that, right? And say, hey, Mr. Jordan, we'll give you an extra 20. You want to put 40 on that position, right? But when I borrow that money, I'm having to pay, right? So there may be some type of fee associated with that, or interest or something like that. So but margin is leverage or debt. Cash is just straight up your cash, right? So always recommend starting with cash instead of margin. When you get a little, when you get the Kobe level, get to margin, start really leveraging some cash to make some more money. But so far, is everybody with me? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're with me. Drop a 2 if you're still lost. Okay. Um, Next, we're going to talk about paper trading. Paper trading is key, okay? Because paper trading allows you to practice, okay? It's simulated market, okay? So you can go in there, you can make limit orders, you can make market orders, you can buy and sell, you can trade different stocks and assets. It is so crucial for you all to paper trade. There's no risk. It costs you nothing to practice. You don't lose money by making bad decisions or coming into the market at the wrong time, okay? There's no stress. Right. But a lot of people kind of think, well, how can I learn if like there's no risk, there's no stress, there's no emotions? Well, the key is to get the emotions out of trading, right? Half of you all are losing because you're still emotionally trading, right? You make a bad trade and then you revenge trade, right? Or maybe you got rent due and you're trying to make the money, right? You get those emotions out of trading, right? The market dictates what we're going to do. Right. I can't dictate what the market, I can have a whole trading plan. The market goes sideways. Right. So we have to learn how to move with the market because the market is not on your time. You don't come in and it's very few players that can control an entire NBA game, right? So it's so key for you all to come in and allow how to just learn how to play the game. Don't have to try to reinvent the wheel, come in and practice. It's there for you. There are certain patterns that happen. And if you practice, you'll have a lot more time to manage your emotions in the future because you've been here and done that, right? Oh my God, I can't tell you how much paper trading changed my game because I was able to watch losing positions without being emotionally attached to them. I was able to watch what happens to options expiring, or maybe sometimes just holding the option that was down and saying that I'm confident in this position, but saying that, hey, it's a paper trade, I can't lose anything. So, but like I'm confident in this trade, let's see how it plays out. Next thing you know, man, you were down 600, now you're up 2,000 because you had patience in your paper trading, right? So it allows you to build a strategy. And practice allows you to gain experience. Okay. So like I said, it is so crucial for you all to paper trade because first you're starting with the education. You're here to learn. That is what's number one. Do not enter the market without knowledge. Okay. Education is key. Nobody in here is going to be a doctor or a lawyer without having to first go to school in order to do it. Right. You're not going to have to be educated on everything that you do, but whatever job you go do, you're going to need training for it. So that education is number one thing, whatever you do, right? So number two, paper trade, practice, put in the work. Like, let's see let's see where we're good at. Are we good at trading this, or do we like how this trades? Because these things are not going anywhere, y'all. I feel like a lot of people feel like the market is just about to run off without them. Every time it goes up, it's going to come back down and give you an opportunity to get back in. Okay. So it goes up and down all the time. Okay. But you need to understand what are the best times in order to get in and get out. All right. And then once you're ready to really, you've built a consistent strategy, then you can step on the real trading. Okay. So make sure you all, how many people, drop a 1 in the chat if you paper trade, drop a 2 if you were just like, it's not even worth my time, or you've never paper traded. So, because I'm just curious where you all stand on that, and drop a 1 and a 2. She said 1 and a 2. Like, I've done it, but it ain't worth my time. I feel you. I feel you on that. 2, not worth your time or haven't done it. Okay. Okay. That's cool. That is so crucial. Not yet. James said not yet. That means we're going to do it in the future. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's going to change your game. Just, better yet, when you make a real trade, go make a paper trade of the same thing you just traded. Because sometimes y'all emotionally get out of trades, but you still want to go back and look at that contract and see what the premium is. Just watch it with the paper trade, right? Man, I'm telling y'all, I promise, man, practice is going to be so crucial in your future. Okay, so next thing, if you're interested in trading options, there are different account levels for options. Okay, so you're going to need to apply for these different levels. All right, so most of the most common ones that are traded are level 1 and level 2. But when you're applying for these, there are inherent risks involved. So a lot of times these brokerage may reject you. Has anybody ever been rejected from an options application? Just say it in the chat if you've ever just like maybe the first time you went and applied for trading options, you got rejected. Or is there anybody in here that does trade options? We got some option traders in here. But there are different levels. Most of you all will get up to level 2. Level 3 and level 4 require a lot more risk and cash involved, right? So I won't go into very much detail into the different options because not everybody trades them. And I suggest not everybody trades them because it's not for everybody. Not everybody has the patience to really utilize options the way they need to be traded. Because like option spreads and stuff, and even naked calls and puts, when you really get into the selling of it and you come up with these like income strategies, with these, all it takes is patience, right? But there is a lot more risk involved. But yeah, if you ever want to trade options, know that you have to apply for them and understand that the application is assessing your risk. So it needs to make sure that you've been trading and have experience, right? And it also needs to understand that you understand the risk involved, right? I think one of the questions may even be like, if you lost all of your money, what would you do? And it was like option A, you know, like, I don't know, freaking kill. Like, I ain't gonna say like something crazy. It was like, I quit everything and I ruined my life and I feel depressed. Or like 2, like I understand it's part of the game. And then 3, like I double down and I'm building my position, right? Or it was like, what happens if a stock falls? Like, and it was like, yo, I'm buying more if I'm confident in it, right? So it was some stuff like that. So you can't be the person that's like, oh, I would be afraid and I would be so depressed and I have only 2 months of experience and you're getting rejected. Okay. They're not gonna let you trade options. Okay. This is for the real ones. Okay. So just remember that when you're applying for options. But if you want to understand the basis of options, just understand that a call means up and a put means down. Okay. So we're calling for it to go up and we about to put it down. Okay. That's the only way I can really kind of be that's the only way. Like, I feel like, when you're calling for help, you do the hooty hoo, you do like it's like call it, hey, we calling all of, we're calling, hey, rally up because we need to push this up, right? Or we're gonna put this down. So it's the best way I can kind of make it simple for people that don't understand it. All right. So now I want to go over to the different brokerages. Okay, so because each one is different, not everyone is created the same. They do have pros and cons, just depending on what you need to trade or what assets you're trying to access. Okay, so one of the most popular is going to be TD Ameritrade. They actually purchased Thinkorswim. So you can actually purchase, you can trade stocks, futures contracts, Forex, options, cryptocurrency, access mutual funds, fixed index, like everything. Okay. The margin lending on here is pretty legit too. Whole bunch of different things that they offer. Like, this is top tier. Okay. And there's 0 account minimums. Plus you can trade ETFs and stocks with no commissions. Right. Which is a whole new thing these days, because before the whole age of, everybody really trading from their phones, there were commissions that you had to pay from the trades that you were making. Okay. But nowadays, everybody usually is just saying commission-free trading, right? They just want you to use their platforms and their tools. And TD Ameritrade even has a trading like a charting platform, right? So in Thinkorswim, you have charting. They even have like educational platforms and videos for from TD Ameritrade. So TD Ameritrade is a really great place, but it is a little like, feel like it's a little more advanced. It's not necessarily for beginners, but if you're not looking to trade, you can start there because it is easy to just be like, I want to buy this stock and, buy and hold. Just that's cool. You can do that very easily in there. And you can also paper trade, which is really cool. So is there anybody in here that has TD Ameritrade? Drop it in the chat. Just let people know how you feel. If you have TD Ameritrade, let us know how you like it. If you don't like it, just drop them in the chat so people can kind of see that. E-Trade is one that we've probably all, at least I was born in 1988. And like, I know through the 90s, we had a lot of commercials for the baby. from E-Trade. I know y'all remember that baby from E-Trade, but I had no clue that baby was talking about stocks, like when it was talking about, oh, it's as easy for investment. Like, and the whole baby was to make it seem like investing's that easy, right? But E-Trade is one that we've all subliminally probably been exposed to, but never really used. But a lot of people use this and speak very highly of their customer service. I did. Then they switched to Charles Schwab. Wow, Charles Schwab bought out E-Trade. Now Charles Schwab is a whole new monster. They heavy. Now Charles Schwab also has a lot of funds. We'll cover one later because now that I'm talking about brokerage accounts, at the end of this, I'll tell you because once you open up these accounts, it's not like they just start making you money. You have to invest in something. So I'm gonna give y'all some things to keep on your watch list so you can invest in some easy, ETFs, index type stuff, and I'll keep those for the end. Okay. But Charles Schwab is another brokerage, a little more old school. You'll probably even see that sometimes they have like physical locations where, like they have advisors and stuff like that. So Charles Schwab is another one. I did not mention it here because I've never used it, but I do have people that have like retirement accounts or index funds within Charles Schwab. But E-Trade is another one. I see a lot. I've never personally used it, but I see a lot of people that approach either profits or like people that trade like on Instagram and stuff. I'll see that they're using E-Trade. So I like to just kind of mention this because it's obviously good enough that they keep trading with it. Okay. So Webull is one of my personal favorites. When I first got it, it was a little like, I don't, because I came from Robinhood and then I came to Webull and I was just like, I came to Webull after Thinkorswim too. And Thinkorswim just didn't make it fun for me. It was just a whole bunch of black screens and just like, I didn't feel stimulated. Okay. E-Trade, Thinkorswim just wasn't doing it for me. It had all the tools and cool charting and all that, but it just didn't visually stimulate me. With Webull, I had everything that Thinkorswim had, but like it looked better. It looked more modern, more digital, more like intuitive too, as well. I'm in design, so I always like to be like my visuals just have to look good. And Webull did a great job designing their app, but not only making it look good, but making it great tools to utilize. There's screeners in here that you can customize. You can keep the market. They got IPO calendars, whole bunch of stuff in here. And there's just a lot of tools in Webull that I use, and it's just right on my mobile phone, or they have desktop apps as well as you can trade from the website. But I like it. They also have, just like some other brokerage accounts, they'll actually give you 5% back on uninvested cash. So when I have my individual account that I was talking about earlier, my Roth IRA, they don't give you cash on that. But with my individual investment account, anytime I'm not making trades or have money just sitting, they'll actually pay me daily on the interest, right? So it's accrued. And yeah, I think it's just cool that I get paid daily on cash that's just not invested, right? So it's not like I have to, yeah, it's just, that's really cool. I'll stop talking about it. But they offer IRAs as well. So I can keep my Roth IRA and my individual account on one app. So that's really cool. I love it. I love it. Does anybody have Webull? A lot of our members and students, a lot of people in our community, they use Webull as well as TD Ameritrade. I see a little bit of E-Trade. I also see a lot of Robinhood. I personally don't like Robinhood after the GameStop thing. I just thought that was very messed up. But before that, they were just showing me signs that they were different, right? When I was trading options, and I would notice that spreads were different. Maybe the spreads were larger on options. If you don't if you don't trade options, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. But the premiums were different. The option spreads were different. The expiration dates, some would not be available, or some would be available, but then it was like no volume. So they're almost trying to bait you into contracts that won't even sell, so they can just run it to zero on you. It was just a lot of things that I didn't like. Like even if you go try to sell an order, it's like you can't like change the order. You have to cancel the order and then go back into it and type in everything and change the price, and it's a mess. I put in stop losses that don't even trigger. It's a mess. It's a mess. I don't like Robinhood personally, but I think it's really cool for beginners. So if you're looking for a place that's just making it like just straight up like kindergarten basic. That's a great app to start. A lot of people use it. Comment in the chats if you use Robinhood. Let me know your feedback as well. Maybe you like it a lot more. I think a lot of people like it. If you're a lot more advanced, you're not using it. You may see some of these traders online using it, but that's because a lot of them are using buy and hold positions. They're buying like leaps or swings or something that they're not actively saying that, oh, I'm coming in here and I need to get rid of this in 2 days or a day. Yeah, I don't like Robinhood. But so that is the end of brokerage accounts. So congratulations. We have finished this part of it. Do we have any questions? Next, we're going to go over some of the things now that you have a brokerage account, you've picked that. Next, we're going to go over some of the things that you can invest in that you've probably heard of, or you may not have heard of them, but I'm going to show you how to really look at them and understand what you're investing in. Okay. Leaps or swings. Leaps or swings are long positions, right? A leap is something like an option contract that has an expiration of the next year. So everybody that was trading in 2023 had leap contracts for 2024, right? So now the 2024 is coming. Contracts for 2025 will start popping up. And so you can actually buy contracts for the next year. Let's say the market, something happens in March, right? Pandemic number 2 or whatever, who knows? Something happens in the market in March and it crashes, right? Then essentially you could buy leaps for the next year. Whenever it starts bottoming, you can just buy leaps because at that point it's like, well, the market's just going to recover for the rest of the year, or it'll keep going down and you can just buy more leaps. So leaps and swings are just long positions. They're more high probability trades. They're saying that you got a lot of time in the trade. Okay, so since we're talking about that, let's pull up some charts. Let's actually go to Trading View. Can everybody see the chart? Drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a 2 if you can't. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're still with me. You're understanding everything. You're excited about investing. Drop a 2 if you're lost. This is so boring, and I'm wasting your time. Got a lot of 1s. Love it, love it, love it. Let's go over what you can invest in. Number 1, we already talked a lot about the different indexes in the first part 1. So we talked about the S&P 500. We talked about the Dow Jones. We talked about the NASDAQ 100. Okay, so these are things that track the market. Okay, I'm in Peru, so my internet may be a little slow. But this is the S&P 500. Okay, this tracks the top 500 companies, but it's actually over 500 of the largest companies, right? And so this is really a barometer of the health of U.S. economy. Now, if you had the cheat code algo, not only would you have known when to enter the market, right? So I always tell people that the best opportunities come in August, September, and March, right? Those are usually times when market volatility increases, price come down, you have a lot of buying opportunities. Now, the opportunity came here after September, boom, buying here, right? Went up a little bit, but sometimes the market needs to pump fake some of y'all. It needs to get some of y'all to be scared, right? Let's get out those weak hands. Let's get the weak hands out of here. But if you got the cheat code algo, you know we're in the reversal bands. And you know what happens when we get down here. The lower we go, it's only up from here. Okay, so if you had the cheat code algo, you saw the heat map candles cooling off. We had we got these trend lines with the auto trend lines from version 5. And then you had the signal from the squeeze and the signal on the swing confirming this direction. And then the squeeze measures the strength. So we can see that the actual strength of the change is changing in strength of the trend is changing in this direction. Okay, so as everybody's being fearful and saying, man, my advisor told me it's going to be the worst crash ever right now. You're like, bro, no, it's not. Like, I got the cheat code algo. But what's crazy is that if you don't have cheat code algo, well, I can't show you what it would look like without it, but I'll show you a little bit. Let me just give you a look. Let's say we didn't have reversal bands, the trade management tool, and we just had some normal old candles. Okay, so let's turn all these things that help us off, and let's see what it does. Okay, told y'all my internet a little slow. I probably shouldn't be doing all these tricks and stuff because it's going to take a little second. But let's pull up the SPY. This is one of the first ones that I'm going to show you. This is this tracks the S&P 500. Okay. Let me actually turn these on because I didn't turn them off. All right, let me put back on my candles. All right, so you don't need to know what it looks like without it. You just don't need to be trading without this thing, because without it, you don't have even without reversal bands. Just, people are like looking at this. People are like, oh no, I like, yeah, back here, yeah, there was support here, but like, I mean, maybe you thought it was going to get support right here too, right? Because we had resistance here, right? And then you're like, man, this resistance, we had a breakout from there. Maybe it'll stop here, right? And you're like, yeah, just buy. And then it comes back here. You're like, I'm going all in. We're back here. And then boom, it keeps going lower. And now you're getting fearful, right? And then you're like, dang, it's a bad position. Maybe you get stopped out and then you're just out of the position. But with my reversal bands, I'm not over here scared. Anytime we in the reversal bands, I'm getting active. Okay. And we high on the other side, I'm just being patient for it to come down. Okay. Now, another thing, if you don't have the trade management tool, you're like, well, where does it go from here? Is this support? Will it bounce back? It's going to go up from here. I know it's going to recover and go crazy. But then you're like, hold up, let me turn on the trade management tool. And another thing, let me turn on my trend lines. Okay. Because this is going to show you that, hey, not only are we like reversing trend here, but I'm giving you the levels to watch, right? If we can't hold this 468 on the SPY, which is tracking the S&P 500, then we could be falling lower, right? Well, where's it going to go? Exactly where we saw some support here and some consolidation, right? And some rejection here in the past, right? So you want to be looking at these levels because the cheat code algo is going to give them to you. So watch the SPY, but, it's not always about what you're buying, but when you're buying it, right? You can buy a great stock, but buy it at the wrong time. Okay. So keep the SPY on your watch list, but just wait for a better time. The market's been running hot on a couple things. Another one I'm going to show you is the QQQ. A lot of these too, everybody's going to know. Everybody's very familiar with these, especially if you're active with trading and investing. So the QQQ tracks the NASDAQ. So you can see here that we have rejection off of our stop loss. We broke through
453 and window 18.
Hold up. Oh, I need to mute somebody now. Hold on. All right. Whoa, hey, make sure you're muting yourself. Hold on, y'all. Let me try to see if I can mute this person. Dang, how do I just mute everybody? Oh, God. Okay, mute all. Here we go. There we go. Doug, turn your mic off. Okay. So the QQQ tracks the NASDAQ. So definitely keep this on your watch list. As you can see, the cheat code algo gave us a lot of signs here. Heat map candles were heating up. We had a few caution candles. And we've been posting about this for a while, right? Especially like going over the inverse ETFs. You can watch that in part 1 as well as on YouTube. We have some inverse ETFs that'll show you when these get hot, if those are low, then you'll see an inverse happening where the market is high and those are low and the inverse will happen, right? So the market will need to come down and the inverse will go up. So keep an eye on QQQ. It's the NASDAQ, but we'll be kind of looking for some levels down here. But the market's been running hot, so you want to let it cool off. Okay. Now, another one that's very popular, I've been traveling around the world. A lot of times when I meet people that are investing, one that they always mention is VOO. They're like, yeah, I'm investing in VOO. Okay. VOO is a Vanguard, okay, ETF. Basically, it tracks the S&P 500. It's basically the same thing as the SPY. It's just set up by Vanguard. Okay. Now, if you want to see what's in these, I'm using TradingView. So if you actually come over to the side, you can see the holdings. Let's scroll down and click on more about fund. When you click on that, some of these pay dividends as well. So when you're investing in these, they're also paying you to hold it. So And the dividend yield, like the actual percentage, is a ratio that's essentially determining how much they pay you as a percentage of the stock's price in that year, right? So it's an annual percentage, right? So it's saying we're paying you this percentage of the stock price per share or per year, but you get paid per shares that you hold, okay? But if you want to look at the holdings, you can scroll down here and look at the top 10 holdings, right? If you're interested in the sectors, you can see it here. But I'm looking at the companies. I want to know who you buy. So when you talk about Vanguard, S&P 500, VOO, these are the holdings. Do you ever host live trading events? Yes, but I'm not like a live trader though. I'm not like somebody that like I build positions. Like my trading floor would be very boring. Like I would like sometimes even when I'm trading, I do kind of these like, okay, now I'm looking at this because like I've even tried to send trade alerts sometimes and people started complaining like that doesn't help me. But like it helps me. I'm making money. So the trading I do is very boring. I'm watching the dollar. I watch the VIX. I'm watching inverses too to really gauge like if I need to be bullish or bearish. So my trading is very boring, is very meticulous, and it's very timed and patient. So my trading is not like we're looking at the 1 minute chart and we're going to catch this trend for 5 minutes. Like that's not me. I don't do that. But I do try. No, I don't trade live. It's not that I don't like I said, I could, but it's boring. I just more so I'll post these videos to show you what's tradable. How about that? But when we're looking at ETFs, make sure you all are checking out the holdings. That'll let you know what you're buying and what you're investing in. Okay. Another one, last but not least, is SCHD, I believe. Yeah. This is Charles Schwab. So earlier we talked about Charles Schwab. This is a dividend ETF. So this pays a much higher dividend than the rest. Usually the other ones are around like 1%, 1.5%, maybe even lower. This one gives you 3.47. Okay. So this is giving a nice dividend yield. And it's got a nice spread of investments, right? I mean, it's over healthcare, it's over semiconductors, it's over you got your Home D, which is like your recession-proof stock type of stock, excuse me. Energy, you got everything in here, tech, everything, right? So you're getting a mix like everything. All right. So this is like when you talk about diversity, you can have ETFs that'll give you that without spreading yourself thin. A lot of people confuse diversity with trying to buy everything, right? I need to have a little bit of everything, but sometimes you can invest in these ETFs that give you exposure to a little bit of everything without taking so much capital to diversify, right? People like Bill Gates would be a lot richer. I know a lot of you guys know every time I post something about Microsoft or Bill Gates, people start going all crazy and getting in the comments. But Bill Gates would be a lot richer if he didn't listen to Warren Buffett about diversifying, right? Because he would have so many more shares of Microsoft, which is hitting new highs. He would be even richer. But he sold his shares of Microsoft to diversify. So, I don't think diversification in the sense of spreading yourself thin is crucial, but diversification and investing in tools that give you diversification with a high dividend yield. So basically they're paying you to diversify. That's a W. Okay. But when you find these assets, keep them on your watch list. Like I said, the markets have been running hot, so have these. Okay. So keep an eye on these, but just pay attention as they are running hot. You want to give them some time to kind of cool off, but I say the best times to come into the market are when these are lower, right? It's like the first rule or the first key you need to remember is buy low, sell high. Okay. You don't always have to sell if you don't want to, but I believe we do this to make money. So I'm a person that believes I'm taking profit, right? So best thing to do is buy low. So when we have low opportunities, we're going low in our reversal bands. We're on our trend lines trying to catch some support, but we also have our heat map candles telling us prices cooling off, right? And when you look at the swing, it's low. Okay. And we know what happens when it gets low. Okay. It spikes back up. Right. So when it's low, these are the best times to come into the market. Right. So why on earth would I buy here? Why on earth would I buy here? Why on earth would I buy here? Right. And sure. Maybe you bought off a hype. You were like, man, the market it's been running. They were saying it was going to go down and it's been running all summer. This AI rally may never stop. And they're like, yo, buy. And then you buying, and then it starts falling in August and September, like it always does. It's historically two of the worst months in the stock market. So, like, then it starts falling. You're like, dang, man, I thought I was good and the AI rally was going to sustain itself. But then, boom, it came right back, blew over that, right? But where was the best time to buy? Lower prices, baby. Because who wants to buy high and then break even? That's so not it. Okay. So y'all be patient out there, man. The market is not going anywhere. I know so many people are so eager. Y'all be losing sleep over thinking about the market if you're already in it. And if you're not in it, I need you to understand that you need to be patient. It's not going anywhere. You're not missing out on anything, whether it's cryptocurrency or anything. Like even if we pulled up Bitcoin, it's not too late for that. Okay. I mean, not in the sense that I'm telling you to buy right now, but I mean, do whatever you want because I don't, you know, um, you just need to follow the charts. Okay. Now we can see here that Bitcoin, it hit some highs and then it said, you know what, I'm gonna cool off and reset and then pop up again. Right. But we can see we're getting a lot of rejection here around this 45. Okay. So we can see, like, even if I put a line here at this 45, we'll put it where it is, right? So 44.5, and then it hit this up here. This is 45,800. So you can see that it's this range of like 45,000 that it's trying its best to push over, right? So you need to watch these levels because if you can't hold 44,000, right, it's already broken them below that. Well, then it's got to hold 40,000, right? But we've got this little trend here, trend cloud. So it's saying that we have a lot of support around 42, basically. 42 is kind of holding us up here. But if we break 42, we officially break our bottom trend line. And we know what happens when you break these trend lines, okay? We move lower, okay? So I always, I recommend people have the tools because if you're not using the right tools, like whether it's the trade management tool or the trend lines or the reversal bands, you're just looking at colors on a chart and sure, do your thing, right? Do your thing. You can sit here and chart supports and resistances all day. Now, even those are provided for you here. So like, let's say we turned on support and resistance with cheat code algo version 5. It'll show you, hey, we have resistance here. So I can even delete my little line that I put there and it'll show you we got resistance in this zone. Okay. And that's plotted automatically for you. Right now, I can chart all day and come up with all it, but it's showing you right there. If Bitcoin doesn't break over this level, we going back down, right? But if Bitcoin breaks over that level, then we're going to be able to see some real support here, right? This resistance is going to turn into support into what rally could come next. But if we can't get over this, we're not going nowhere. Okay. So pay attention to these things because I don't like to say call down or up. I just follow the charts. Let the chart speak. What's the trade management tool does that cost on TradingView? It's actually the cheat code algo. Okay, so all of these things are tools that are in the cheat code algo. There's order blocks in here. You can put in day, week, month, high, lows, all these things, swing points, order blocks, Fibonacci levels are really cool. I like to check Fibonacci levels before I make any trades. So once I say it's either low or high with my reversal bands, auto trend lines, and the trade management tool, I then go check the Fibonacci because like we're looking at Bitcoin and we can see that the highest level on the Fibonacci is 50,000, right? So that's saying it's possible right now, right? That's saying that that is totally feasible. Now, had 44,100 been the top of the Fibonacci's, then it's just like not even feasible. We going anywhere over 45, right? But the fact that Fibonacci, this is auto. I don't even have to do the work on this. This isn't like my synopsis of I think the bottom is here and then I'll plot it up here. No, this is auto trend line. This is auto Fibonacci levels, right? So this is telling me that if we can get some support here at 44,100, then we could potentially have that breakout and see higher, right? But if we can't hold this or this 42 range that we have right here on the bottom of our trend cloud, then we're going to start moving to these lower levels on Fibonacci. What is RSI? Great question. We're going to cover all the other indicators and stuff on another parts of this because I don't want to run these too long. I'm just trying to but for the sake of answering your question, I'll put it on, but we're going to do a whole series on technical analysis. So y'all stay tuned with me on these series. We're going to keep them coming. I appreciate y'all coming to these free classes. I want to make sure y'all have all the knowledge that you need. So this is RSI. RSI essentially it stands for the relative strength index. Okay. But I like to call it like the temperature, like you know how you have that temperature gauge on your car, and it lets you know when you overheating or your car is just cool. Maybe it's just cold and you need to let it heat up if you live in somewhere cold, it's just like that. When the market's too hot, we're overbought, right? When the market's too cold, we're undersold. What is it? Oversold, excuse me. So when the market's down and your RSI is lower, now mind you, you can have different time frames for this, and these indicators work over several time frames. But if you notice, I've never moved it off of a day. Okay, that's why I say my trading is boring. I'm moving in days. Okay, I'm not somebody that is trading off of a 15-minute chart or 5 minute or anything lower than an hour. I don't even look at it. Unless it's the day of the trade that I'm like, 4 hour looks good, 1 hour is looking scrumptious. Now I'm looking at the 5 and the 15 to get active. Okay, I'm just looking at like, is the market in my favor today? And did we hit the pre-market high or the low, whichever one I needed to hit before entering that trade? So you're a swing trader. You can say that for sure. There are some day trades that I make. Sometimes like I'll go in the market and buy 0 DTE on the SPX, right? On days that I feel like going into the new year, I noticed that the last 2021 did the same thing. It went crazy. It went up, 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 up. And then January 1st just crashed. Or like the first day the market opened on January, it just started crashing. And so I was like, dang, this feels just like that. The AI rally is just like the pandemic rally, right? It's just like everybody's just like investing, investing, investing. You need to invest. Don't get left behind. AI is the next thing. And it just pushed the market to do over 20% in a year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. Now that it's too hot, are people just going to keep buying? Or so that's why I always say check these indicators because it'll let you know when we're cold, right? Because the heat map candles were cooling off saying, hey, it's some opportunity here. It's getting cold. Okay. When the heat map candles start turning blue or green or like purple, I've seen them turn purple one day. I was trading live and I knew it was time. When it turned purple, I was like, oh, this is a whole nother color I haven't even seen. I'm used to seeing blue and it turned purple. I was like, I'm active, gee. Because it was actually, I was pushing towards a stop loss and then the candles turned purple. And I was like, oh, this must be where the liquidity is coming to grab all these stop losses and leave everybody. So I canceled my stop loss and just waited and it just took off. So I love the heat map candles. They let you know when, hey, hey, it's like that calm before the storm, So you can see that happening with Bitcoin here. We had it really low on the RSI. These are great opportunities. These are no look passes. This is high probability. Okay. Now, when you look at the RSI, you have to keep in mind, though, you can't be one of those people that comes in and just shorts at the top of the RSI, because I've seen now that I've like been trading for a while, I've seen where the market will actually consolidate, right? And in that time that it's consolidate, if you see that it's like the indicators are resetting, right? Because they can't break themselves, right? If Bitcoin wants to move higher and the market's going to take it higher, it has to then just say, hey, I actually have to make a little more room. Because right, if I tell you to jump as high as you can, right? And you're exhausted, you standing up, right? And I tell you, jump as high as you can. I want you to dunk the ball, right? You're going to have to bend your knees, okay? Ain't nobody out here dunking without first bending their knees. If I told any of y'all to dunk a basketball, the very first thing you're going to do is bend your knees. And that's what these indicators would do. So don't ever be confused that just because it's at the top, it's time to short the market. I usually like to see them pull back and try another test of this high, because you can see that with an asset like Bitcoin, it can keep pushing because of demand, right? And so as RSI saying, hey, we're getting hot, even heat map candles are showing out signals. If we break over these levels, once you break out of these levels and it starts moving, that's a trend. Okay. So if we would have seen resistance here, then you can be bearish, right? But if we not stopping at 37.5, then it's going to push for 40, right? And if we break over 40, it's going to push for the next. So that's why these auto Fibonacci levels are key, because you can see the levels here. So if we can't hold 44, we'll go back and retest this 40 or the 42, which it did today. Pay attention to these levels before you all make any investments, but we'll go over all of these indicators. But the cheat code algo actually comes with these presets, with the swing and the squeeze. So that way you already have both of these in here. So you'll be able to kind of see the direction as well as the strength, right? And so I always tell people, like I said, you usually want to come in the market when we're lower, okay? Whether that's on the swing and the squeeze. And then also with I have my personal favorites are reversal bands, the trade management tool, and the trend line. We'll turn off the Fibonacci. Or you know what? We'll keep it on for the sake of this. It's a cheat code algo free. You can try it out for free. Let's go to cheatcodealgo.com. So if you want to try it out, go to the website. You can get a free trial. Limited time on the free trial. So y'all make sure y'all try it out before we cut off this free trial. Okay. So if you want the cheat code algo, you like what you see, you want to try it out, you can try it out for totally free. The cool thing is I was able to try it out for totally free. It made me some money. So I actually started subscribing to it because I didn't see it as like, I don't know, when some people kind of like, when you talk about like things that you pay for when you're investing, whether it's education or tools, I see it as just that. It's a tool for me. Like I need a competitive advantage. There are people out there using things to take advantage of me. Okay. And if I don't have the proper tools to compete in the same game, I'm going to get beat every time. Right. And I remember seeing this thing and it was called the cheat code. And I was like, dang, but if I gave everybody the cheat code, who's gonna lose for me to win? So I'm going to be honest with y'all, this thing, and it's even better now, but it was a different one before, and it's been just different upgrades. This is version 5, so you can see how much it's evolved over time. But there's even tools that I did not show, like our speed bands. So if you are a day trader, there's things like that that'll help you make a lot more effective trades when you're either trying to catch these really quick trends. You can turn on the speed bands, but the really key one for me is the auto trend lines. It's awesome. But you can come here and get the this for totally free. Actually, I sent a direct message. My bad. Let me send that to everybody. Everyone, here is the link in the chat. Let's see here. So if you want to get the cheat code algo, go to cheatcodealgo.com. You can click that link. But I'm not going to talk y'all heads off. I think we've been talking for a long time, but if you want to try this out for free, go to cheatcodealgo.com, click here. You can start for free. We also have free trading floors, free live classes that we do all the time. So I appreciate y'all coming to this one. But if you want to learn, it's totally free. If you want to trade, it's totally free. If you want to get access to the tools that we use to cheat the market, you can get a free trial access. Okay. So, and it comes with a lot of tools that you can use in here. So we have videos that we set up to show you all how to use it as well. Let me go. And it doesn't matter what you trade, Forex, futures, crypto, stocks, options. You can trade it. We can chart it. Okay. So if you head over to our YouTube, you can see part 1. So this is part 2. If you have not seen part 1, go over to our YouTube and just click on our lives tab, and you'll be able to kind of watch these parts as they come out. Like I said, this will be kind of this building series that we're doing to kind of get you all into the market so that you can move forward with confidence. Okay. Because it's a shame, man. I meet people all the time and they're like, how's that trading thing going? As if it's like some like fad or something. Like, you ain't doing it yet. I'm like thinking to myself, like, you watching me and you still on the bench? You know what I'm saying? I'm over here like, put me in the game, coach. So I think it's so important that, we stop this gatekeeping of information. So I'm always here to share what I've learned, because in the beginning, I'll be honest with you, I did not want to share information. I felt like the more information I gave out, the more that the market would change against me or figure out what I was using or something like that. Or like there wasn't enough people to lose. If everybody starts learning, who's going to lose? Because it's an exchange. Okay. So when you lose money, it's going to somebody else because they made a better decision than you. But there will be times that you win and you're taking somebody else's money that made a bad decision. So you always want to make sure you're on the right side of the market. Okay. And the only way you're going to do that is with the knowledge, the tools, and the community to succeed. Okay. So, and we're putting this information out there so you all have it and you know how to digest it as well. So it's not like a whole bunch of information that's just getting thrown into your face. But step by step, we're gonna hold your hand through the process. And then if you need to watch it over, it's right here for you. Okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. If you have any more questions, drop it in the chat before we go. But we're gonna go ahead and end this thing. I'm about to, kick back, enjoy the rest of my night, and maybe go create some more content so we can keep sharing this information. So y'all make sure y'all go over to our YouTube, Cheat Code TV, click that subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a live. Okay, please, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna actually drop y'all the link for the channel so y'all can pull up on me. Okay, drop this out there. No, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Okay, and thank yourselves for changing your future. Okay, the future you is already thanking you. It's like, look at me. Look at me. Okay, y'all are killing it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I will see you for the next one. We're gonna start sharing this screen and